bitches.
Broadcast.
Hello and welcome to the broadcast with Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. My name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is season 7, episode 10, episode number 280. Are you ready to talk about Russian doll and a lot of generational trauma?
Oh boy,
Sure am.
Woo!
What did I just watch?
Yeah, yes, I feel the same. We will get into that in a second. But for anybody that doesn't want to stick with us through our Russian doll talk, housekeeping, anything else, we're off next week. So we will not be filming on September 13th, and there will be no new episode on the 16th. And the bloopers came out finally, so check those out. Episode 709. I spent some time on a new music website. I was like, I'm so sick of all the music that I always use. I'm gonna get some new music. And then we'll be live for the patrons on the episode that we record on the 20th.
Cool.
Yes, and the bloopers are a delight. Highly
Yes, they
recommend.
Oh, thank you. They were late. It was my own fault. First, there was a little bit going on last week. There was an accident in front of my office on Thursday, and I just really could not focus after that. Somebody got hit. They were on a motorcycle. Somebody leaving the parking lot hit them. The person didn't make it. I had trouble concentrating on Thursday. So I was like, that's okay. I'll just do them on Friday. And then, I don't know, something must have happened with, like, Trump or something on Friday, because I spent most of Friday, like, not doing them. And then we had Labor Day weekend, and we went to IKEA, and did a big cleanup, and had birthday parties, and baseball practice, and it wasn't a whole lot of time.
You don't need to make an excuse.
So I am sorry.
You were living your life.
I do apologize, though. I should have done them on Thursday. I did them a different way this year, whereas in the past, I've always, I've labeled them, grouped them, and then added the beeps as they went along, and then, put the music in and kind of like figured out what order everything would go in along with the music. This year, I don't know why I decided to do it differently, but like I grouped them all up and then got stuck. Like, I was like, I'll just do the music at the end. And I didn't put the beeps in right away. Like, I waited too long to do that. And then I just had no direction. And it wasn't until I finally sat down and was like, let's get some music and let's do this right. And, like, and just do it your old way. Then I was done within, like, an hour and a half.
But sometimes it's good to change it up.
Yeah.
Kick the tires and see what happens.
And you know what? It wasn't broke. I shouldn't have fixed it. Much like the theme of Russian Doll this year. Sometimes you're going to end up in the same spot.
Yeah, but you had to go on the journey to know how good you had it.
Yep.
You had to go on that journey.
Yeah, I had to go on that journey. So anyway, next time I do them at Christmas time, or I guess New Year's time, I will do it differently. I'll go back to the old way. The way that works for me. How did long weekend? Did you guys have a good Labor Day weekend?
I sure did. My mom came to visit.
Oh,
so
yay!
That was really exciting. She was supposed to come the weekend before, but since I was still not feeling great, we just rescheduled, and it actually was great because then we had an extra day with Labor Day. We had talked about, like, there's not really a good place to put the litter box in our house. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the garage is like the best place. Yeah. So we had talked about, like, oh, that'd be cool to, like, put in a cat door, and then we could put the litter box out in the garage and not have to worry about it. So when my mom was here with my stepdad, who used to work in construction, I was like, hey. So we did, like, some, house projects. He also changed all of my locks, which I, still hadn't done. And we got a whole new deadbolts. Like there were some deadbolts that would have had to change anyway. And we just redid the whole thing. He redid the whole thing. I mean,
you were there too.
I was there for the ride. Yeah.
You supervised.
Right. We have a really big painting. He hung the painting, but really the cat door, it was like, it said on the cat door, it said like, simple instruction. It's simple installation. Like,
is it ever?
Like simple if you know how to use power tools, which like your average person probably doesn't.
If you have power tools. That was the first thing. I called them up a couple days before they came over and was like, so, and my stepdad was like, I'll bring the tools. So yeah, no, it was really good to see them. Our first guests.
Yay!
And now they're not that far away now.
No,
right?
they're like,
hours.
Yeah, like 3.5 hours.
That's not bad.
Which like in West Coast time is nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Western United States, I should say. Yeah, it's like
for a long weekend, like that's totally doable.
Yeah, so that was fun. Also, Gabby started going outside. We got to we kept her in for like 3 or 4 weeks, just for her to like really understand that this is where she lives, and started letting her outside. So far, so good. Knock on wood.
Oh, good.
So I think she's living her best life. But anyway, that's the excitement in my life. I'm also feeling better finally. It took a very long time.
I can't believe that it took that long and it wasn't COVID.
I know.
Like people get sick from things that aren't COVID still. Like what?
I know. So strange. So strange.
Amanda, how was your weekend?
It was good. Yeah. We hung out here and we, just kind of explored New York City.
Nice.
We went into Union Square on Saturday to we'd heard there was like a cool playground there, but when you go there without children, it's not like a part of the area you're looking at. So we had never been, but it is in fact a very cool playground.
Nice.
And it was just fun to kind of wander around, somewhere that we used to go all the time. And, now our life is totally different and we can still enjoy it. We did the beach one day. Yeah, it was good. It was like really chill because the week before was kind of was really busy for us because daycare was closed for their like summer break. So baby girl was home, but we were both still working. So it was trying to like just do everything all at once, all the time. And so it was like I just didn't have it in me to like make real plans. So it was kind of nice just to kind of go where the wind took us.
Awesome.
Yeah. Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah. That was one of the things that like 2020 where everything like all traveling because I'm always like, let's go. Where are we going? Kind of like forced me to like, sort of sit down and do things like that, like explore more things that were local and like just be chill. So
yeah. Well, and it was like
nice.
It was legit the only weekend all summer long that we didn't have plans.
Yeah.
The only one.
Wow.
And it was just like I realized that after like 2 years of not going out anywhere, it was like I just didn't have the stamina. So it's like I was just so burned out. Like summer is over and I just, it was just like running the entire time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice to just be like to end it on a chill note. Of
yes.
Like,
nice.
Just doing fun stuff close to home. It was very nice.
I understand. We love those weekends when they happen collectively. Sort of. The rest of my family does.
I used to like hate like a free weekend, and now it's like the pandemic has really kind of
I agree.
Made me appreciate the idle time,
the downtime. Yes. Although I'm getting antsy. I was supposed to have 2 trips. I was supposed to go to Wilmington this upcoming weekend for a conference for work, and then I was supposed to go to Atlanta, Georgia next week. Tuesday through Thursday or Wednesday to Thursday. Yeah, it was kind of up in the air. But now both of them got canceled. And I'm super bummed. Because...
Well, Colleen, if you want to go somewhere next weekend, you can come to a barbecue at our place on Saturday.
Ooh.
The 10th?
Yes.
Oh, maybe. Maybe. We have a birthday party, softball practice, and haircuts. But I'm sure I could figure it out. all things I scheduled to.
But this is also kids, so this is like all of that is done by 1 o'clock.
Actually, the birthday party, Alex wasn't going to go to the birthday party, but then once my plans got canceled, I RSVP'd. I was like, hey, I know the deadline was Friday and it's Tuesday, but is there any chance that he could still go? And then Zach had practice at 1:30, and then I was like, well, I don't have anything to do this weekend, and they need haircuts, so I guess we're going to do that at 4:30. But maybe I can work it out in between, because I would really like to come to go to there.
We're going to start drinks around 5. So.
Okay.
But it's very much like come whenever.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Invite the neighbors. I met some of my neighbors. Been talking to them.
Nice.
Invite maybe some people from work.
Well,
see.
We went to
build your community.
Yeah.
Trying. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. We went to IKEA last weekend because the main goal of Labor Day was to actually do a complete clean out. And sadly, we didn't get much further than Zach's room, but Zach's room was like the biggest thing. He needed all new storage in his closet. And this was a project that I started in January and was going to go to IKEA in January. And then they all got COVID in January. I was like, well, I'm not working. I'll just go another week. And we never got there. So this has been like a very long overdue trip. So we put shelves up on his wall. His room looks pretty different. And by that, I mean clean now. And then, so that actually was the main thing. Alex's room, we've got some changes in store, but hopefully it won't be as like in as in depth as Zach's were. Which I guess Jay is actually still going to Atlanta without me on Tuesday through Thursday. So I think I'm going to I was already supposed to take off from work those 2 days. I think I'm either going to still take off those 2 days and finish what we started, or
I think you should.
Or take off at least one day and like get as far as I can. But yeah, so that was our main thing was IKEA and cleanup. But we ended up buying the wrong size blinds. We're gonna finally put blinds in the bathrooms upstairs, so people don't like.
Really easy to do.
Super easy to do. But the problem is, Rudy made the windows so that like the blinds have to be either custom made because they won't. They're not the right size to fit in. To go down, or I know it's super annoying.
Such a smart guy. Why would he do that?
I don't know. Maybe it's because they didn't intend. They were like, God didn't intend to have shades. I don't know. I don't have any. There's no window shades in this house at all. So we have to get the bars that like go into the wall above like it to pull them down. And we thought we had it right, and it's just off. It's just off. It doesn't look right. We have to size up, which I don't know how that's going to... I don't even know how that's going to look, but I think we might have to go back to IKEA and swap them out. So, Shandy, if you want to go to IKEA on Sunday, we'll be there.
So it's funny that you mentioned that.
Probably won't be, but maybe.
There's like a couple of things that we need. Like we need to buy a guest bed. So I had my mom and stepdad sleep in my bed, and then we have a really nice like camping mattress for like car camping. Like it's memory foam. So it's like
yes, you've talked about this. I'm very jealous.
I know.
Of this camping mattress. It sounds nicer than like
my actual mattress.
We also have like a queen size blow up mattress that's like 3 foot high. But I was like, honestly, I think my camping mattress is probably more comfortable. So I slept on that and that was fine, but eventually like we do need a bed. So I was like mentioning that, and there's, a couple of like pieces of furniture that I do want to get. And my mom and stuff that kept saying like, well, do you have an IKEA? You should just go to IKEA. So I think all signs are pointing to IKEA now. So, well, we don't, but they do in Raleigh because I just saw my friend Colleen go.
They don't. We were supposed to get one in Cary, and the town of Cary fought it, and instead Epic Games is going to that campus that IKEA was supposed to take over. Like,
wait, so where's the IKEA then?
It's in Charlotte.
Oh, shit. Well, my sister lives in Charlotte, so.
There you go. It was It was like 2 hours and 15 minutes for us, give or take a little.
It's like the same. It's the same for me. I mean, I haven't actually driven there yet, but on Google Maps, it's about the same.
Yeah, it's not that bad of a drive, but yeah. Anyway, what we were gonna do was order it, because if you get it delivered and you get it dropped off at FedEx, it's only a $4 delivery fee, which I thought is actually fairly reasonable for like all this stuff and gas prices right now. So what I might do is order the next size up. Pick it up at the FedEx that's next to my office that I literally walk to on an almost daily basis. And then we'll have both sizes and see what they look like comparatively. And then we'll have to just go back and return one at some point. Because I'm not going to keep 2 sets of blinds and not return them. Like they're, they were... IKEA's not expensive, but I still got multiple sets of them. I'd like to return them.
And it's not like you're like a renter that like, well, maybe we'll use this in the next place.
Exactly. So at some point, as I told my mom, I was like, we're either going to have to drive to Charlotte and return them, or we'll have to, whenever we drive to New York next, we'll have to go to the one in Hicksville on Long Island, or the one...
Or the one in Brooklyn.
There's one in Brooklyn?
There's one in Brooklyn. Actually, it'd be super out of the way.
It'd be super out of the way. I think I know which one you're talking about.
It's like Red Hook, Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah. No, that would not be close.
So it's like you'd really have to kind of...
Yeah.
It'd be quite the detour. But I could meet you there. It's a very nice Target. There's also a Target there, too. But no, the IKEA. It's very nice. It's got a lovely view. You can see the Statue of Liberty. It's very nice. It is very nice.
That sounds nice. So we'd have to go to either the one in Baltimore, the one in Virginia, or we'd have to go along the way would be the next thing. But Amanda, when we were in IKEA, I was looking around to show the boys our couch we bought from there.
Oh my God. Because it was so, at the time, it was so like cost prohibitively expensive to ship something. Like it was literally going to double the cost of the couch. We bought like this ugly couch that neither one of us liked because we thought it was going to fit in your car, and it didn't fit in your car anyway.
Shandy, it was a disaster.
Couldn't return it. I forget why we couldn't actually return it. So then it's like we had to pay this extra money for the stupid couch we didn't even want anyway.
Oh my God.
This is also reminding me of an episode of Broad City.
Yes, it was an episode of Broad City.
And then I spilled red wine on it. Or maybe you spilled red wine. I don't know. We both spilled red wine, I think.
Yeah. I know that when I took it to the apartment, I also spilled red wine all over it. And so we scratched it.
Colored cover.
We did. We got like the cream colored cover. It was. It was bought at a budget, and you could tell. Is all I'm going to say about that.
It fit like 1.5 people.
It did.
It was not a wise purchase.
But you know what? It was the best that we could do given the circumstances and the tools that we had at the time. Oh my God, that was so funny. The day that we moved out of the apartment and we left that couch, we literally left it outside of the dumpsters of the apartment complex we lived in, which was frowned upon. But we were so fucking done with that couch that we were like, fuck it, we're never going to see us again. We're going to live in here and go. Oh my God. Oh man. Anyway, I was trying to look for it. I got all like nostalgic, and I was like, I couldn't find it.
I'm sure they discontinued it. I feel like IKEA has much like nicer designed stuff now.
They do, and some of their costs have gone up. Actually, the bed frame that we got for Zach, which is a very simple bed frame, I'm pretty sure we got that for either $100 or $150. And it's now $250. That same bed.
Oh damn!
Frame. And I know we did not drop $250 on that.
Cost of supplies and stuff. I feel like that stuff is really
right. Anything that you have something shipping from overseas, it's going to be pricier. The bed frame in this room that you've slept on, Amanda, this is from IKEA. The mattress is...
I like that bed. I always have a good night's sleep at your place.
I love this bed, too. It's my favorite bed in the house. The mattress is from Mattress Firm.
Oh.
Or Mattress Warehouse, Mattress Firm. What's the one
Mattress Firm.
Yeah.
It used to be Sleepy's.
Yeah, and they only have to sell really one mattress a day to keep up the cost because it's really like some kind of like drug front or something. is the
Probably.
rumor.
And that's where we have our mattress from too, and it's been serving us fine.
Yeah, like we have that stupid purple one upstairs that Jay likes. I hate the mattress up there. It was triple the cost of the one down here, and the one down here is my favorite, like hands down. And when I went to get Alex's mattress, I went to Mattress Firm. I was like, here's my receipt, because I had it in my email. I was like, here's my receipt. I want this exact same mattress or whatever is the next like generation of it that you have. And they were like, okay. Like, you're easy. I was like, thanks.
Sure am.
I think I set a record. I was in and out of... They were like, you want to lay on it? And I sat, and I was like, yeah, this is close enough. They were like, that's it? And I was like, yep, that's it. Bye.
Yeah,
Help me carry it to the bed.
Helps for me. I feel like lying on a mattress in the store. And that's always why we went to Mattress Firm, because Daniel's like, oh, I don't want to do one of those like through the mail, because you like can't try it. And like the try it in the store doesn't help me. I feel like it does. The vibe is not right.
Yeah.
I feel like every mattress that I've ever laid on in a store was comfortable to me, because you're not spending a whole night there. You're spending 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly. And then it's like totally not the same when you bring it home. And you're like I just feel like I have no like concept of
this
anything.
one totally was.
Yeah.
Good times, mattresses. Hey, Halloween movies. We totally changing the subject. We need to figure out what day we're recording our Halloween movies and what topic we're going to do for October 4th. We got a big October coming up.
Oh, wow.
This is a lot of things you're throwing at me.
I am
ill prepared.
I am. Start thinking. I was thinking two things. One, that finally doing that Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, the You've Got Mail, Sleepless in Seattle. What's the other one?
Oh, I forget what the other one.
I think maybe
there's another one. Finally
do that, or we haven't done the teenage rom-coms from when we were growing up. So we've got She's All That, Walk to Remember.
Is Walk to Remember a rom-com, or is it just like a movie that makes you cry?
It's a movie that makes you cry. You're right.
Yeah,
it's not a rom-com. I guess a girl dying of cancer.
It's a rom?
Funny.
It's a rom. It's just a straight-up rom.
I don't even know if it's a rom. It's more like a sadistic joyride with music.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
Yeah, it was just like not my thing.
You've never seen A Walk to Remember with Mandy Moore and the dude from Switchfoot?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nothing about that sentence was
Shane
like any
West.
of my vibe in high school. Like none of it.
I saw that with my friend Trisha for my 18th birthday. Loved it. And I still love the soundtrack. Oh my God. It's such a time capsule. I'm sure it doesn't hold up, but I guarantee you I would watch it and sob. Oh, maybe one of these genres we could do Nicholas Sparks tearjerker movies. We could do...
I've never seen any of them, so...
Yeah,
well, Walk to Remember, the one with Ryan Gosling, and what's that one? And what's her name? Rachel McAdams.
Is that The Notebook?
The Notebook!
Is that a Nicholas Sparks?
Yeah!
No.
Is it a romantic movie that makes you want to cry and at the end? Then yes, it's Nicholas Sparks. He only has one setting. He never changed the dial. Much like Danielle Steele. Like, they were like, here's our niche. We're going to just go with it. Hire ghostwriters, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. It's just like a Mad Lib style. Just turn those books out.
Oh my God. Okay, so we could either do tearjerkers, Nicholas Spark tearjerkers, because I think we would get a lot of feedback on those because everyone has seen those, except for you guys, apparently.
Apparently, except for us. Except for Shandy and I.
Because I would do The Notebook, A Walk to Remember, and I've never seen the Miley Cyrus one, but I would totally watch the Miley
Cyrus.
Yeah, it's like The Last Dance, the last song.
Yeah, with Liam, the dude that she married, Liam Hemsworth.
Separate, but very good. That one I have seen.
Which one?
Save the Last Dance.
Oh, Save the Last Dance.
Yeah, we could also just do like Julia Stiles movies from the late 90s, early aughts. That would also be
oh my God.
Pretty enjoyable.
At some point, we're going to have to get into the Shakespeare remix genre of the 90s.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I like
Romeo and Juliet is like so fucking good.
Romeo and Juliet is
amazing.
Emma,
it's like
Sense and Sensibility. Like the ones.
I think Romeo and Juliet's really the only one that I've scene maybe, but I love it so much.
Or in the Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley.
Pride and Prejudice, yep.
Although that wasn't the 90s, was it? That was...
Well,
That was
early
2000s.
2000s, late 90s. You know, that same time period. They kind of bleed together. Sort of.
Romeo and Juliet was 1996. I feel like it was very solidly 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With like a slightly different vibe.
Yeah. Or we could do... I don't know. Let's... These are all the things we discussed. Stick around for the end of the show where we make a decision.
But we actually decide.
And then I think it's safe to say we'll be doing Halloween movies to be determined, but we can record that on either October 18th or... Yeah, it's got to be October 18th because the 25th will be a Halloween party.
Okay.
So
we couldn't do those things combined as one thing?
No, because our Halloween party is over Zoom and the other one is not.
It's our show. We can make the rules.
I know. I want to stretch out Halloween as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Colleen is making these rules for her favorite holiday. So I think we just have to go with it.
Right. Okay.
Please.
I just need to get to the core of of the whole crux of it all. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
So Halloween movies, including Hocus Pocus too.
All right.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
It's just going to make me so sad.
I
It's
know.
really going to
But we gotta watch
just, like
it.
stomp on a piece of my childhood. Why don't you?
I know. But we gotta watch it.
Yeah,
So
you're right. We
dumb.
gotta watch it.
Okay, so we'll do Hocus Pocus. I'm sorry, we'll do movies on the 18th, and then we'll have our costume Halloween party. Woo!
Shit, I need to figure out what I'm going to be.
I know,
Obligatory
I feel like-
woo! On October 25th. We could talk about what we do in the shadows, too, on the 18th.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll be done by then.
I know, I gotta catch up, too.
Yeah, really.
I was just
really
about
fun.
to say, I guess I can't be Nadia 2 years in a row, but maybe I can.
You can always be Nadia. Oh my god. Are there 3 Nadia characters? Because somebody could be Russian doll Nadia, somebody could be,
The Nadias.
yeah,
love
the
it.
Nadias.
I like it.
But we need a 3rd Nadia.
Come in each.
Oh.
Someone can be a tiny gymnast. I vote Colleen. Your hair you have the right hair for it.
That's true, and you have the right hair for Nadia Volvikov.
My hair will probably look like that at that point. The place I was going to get a haircut, they've stopped doing haircuts. I don't know where to go now.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So my hair might look like that. Maybe I'll do bangs. Who knows? Maybe I'll be bald.
Don't do bangs. Don't do
I'm
bangs.
never going to do bangs.
Don't do bangs.
This forehead can't handle bangs.
Bangs are the worst. I only do them because I need them.
Yeah. If I was a famous actress that had someone who could do my hair for me all the time and make those curly bangs behave, then yeah, I would totally do it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's ridiculous. I look like a Muppet all the time.
Oh, you have beautiful hair, so stop it.
Yes.
Mess.
Okay, let's move into, speaking of Nadia Volvikov, let's move into our Russian doll discussion. Let's take our break now so we can just go all the way through to the end, all right?
Sounds good.
Great.
All right, we'll see you after the commercial break. All right, we are back. Let's talk about Russian doll.
Yay.
Yay! Spoilers abound ahead. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you might
Just stop listening.
stop listening. We'll see you next week. You can skip ahead to the last probably 2 minutes of the show if you want to hear what zany things we say. But yeah, good times. All right, what did you guys think of season 2?
I don't think I completely understood it, but I liked it.
Okay.
I will say, I started watching it when I first moved here, and I watched Frank and I watched a couple of episodes and kind of fell asleep during them, and then I didn't really continue watching it. And so when we had finally our broadcast assignment, we had talked about rewatching season 1. So I did that, and I was very happy that I did. I felt like that gave me, the momentum to then go back, and so I rewatched season 2 from the beginning. I was actually I was 5 episodes in.
Oh, wow.
When I stopped watching it. Yeah. So I'm very
You're
happy
right there.
I know, but still kind of nah, I will say overall, I think like season 1 has a certain sort of like magic to it that I don't think we find in season 2, but I like that they were able to figure out a different part of time to explore. So it's still like thematically there. I thought it was interesting. I liked it. And yeah, I went down a rabbit hole when I finished of like YouTube videos, like explain the end of I don't really remember. I should have taken notes probably, but I don't remember.
Say, were there any that stuck out to you? I'd be curious to watch them.
Most of them were really like videos that talked about like, oh, and this is how you know, here are all the details, you know, that like point to like 1986, and then this is
so yours is more of like an Easter egg kind of video.
Yeah, it wasn't really what they said that they were going to be. Because maybe the people who made the videos also didn't have like a deep understanding of everything.
It's definitely a show. I wish so.
Sounds about right.
I think at this point I've seen season 1 4 times, and I wish that I had a chance to rewatch season 2 a second time. Instead, tonight I just rewatched the last episode because
that's smart.
I also didn't understand it. I will admit that, well, I think season 1 is just so perfectly done. Even upon rewatch, like I understood what they were saying, you know, like nobody's really alone, you can't do it alone, blah blah blah. When I went to bed last night, maybe it's because also I was exhausted, because we really did do a lot of like manual labor at home all weekend and errands with the kids and stuff, that I really enjoyed it, including the like mindfuckness of the last episode up until the ending. Like, I was deeply, deeply unsatisfied with the fact that all of this happened and she still wasn't there when Ruth died. And I truly have a huge problem with that.
Oh, see, I don't.
Okay.
Shandy, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll pick.
Okay. Well, I was sad that she didn't make it back in time. I mean, but I think that's the whole lesson, is like to be present in the present, because she missed out on these really important things. And I think that she, as a character, is able to still find closure with missing Ruth's death because of everything that happened, because of what she learned, and because of also like the different timelines that she was a part of. But I like you, I sort of thought that we were going to have some sort of magical, like, okay, she got back just in time.
Yeah, I thought so. I was expecting it. I thought that. I was originally naive enough to think that perhaps they were Back to the Futuring it, in that she was going to be able to convince young Ruth to stop smoking, and then she was going to like.
You can't change the vibe,
but you can't change it.
And then
the whole
point.
Yeah, right. And once we get to that point where she realizes, or I guess Alan is the one that says it. He's like, we can't escape being the products of the things that we can't change. And then I was like, okay, well, she's not going to save Ruth, but like, she left on the day that Ruth has this issue. Why isn't she just going to return on the day that she has this issue? But she fucked with the timeline so much that...
Well, and time just keeps marching on, too. Like, sometimes they would stay longer in one era, and so then time is, like, continuing in the other era.
Right. It's the consequence of living your life in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you miss the present by spending so much time focusing on the past.
Exactly.
And I think like that was the consequence of like trying to fix her future by continually focusing on her past, that she missed important things in the present that she'll never get back.
I know, and that makes me ache for her. That makes me so sad for her. Yeah. And I didn't like that. I didn't like coming away from that feeling so unsatisfied. Like, it felt incomplete, because I don't even think, having even rewatched the first time I watched it last night, I thought that she also kind of felt at peace because she sort of said goodbye to old school Ruth in the different timeline or whatever. But upon rewatching it, I get the distinct impression, and I know that Natasha Lyonne has said in past interviews that they designed this to be a 3-season show. So
really,
yes. So I get
there's another season coming.
Well, it hasn't officially been renewed, but they have a 3 seasons like arc that they want to do. So I'm wondering if we had the present was last season 2 was the past, or we're gonna get the future for season 3.
But not even like it, because this is actually the tiny little bit of research I did leading up to this. I found a Hollywood Reporter interview with Natasha Lyonne, and she was saying how when they originally pitched the series, it was this idea of like 3 seasons, but where they have ultimately ended up is like not at all was what that original pitch was.
Oh.
So like as they're sort of finding the characters and finding the story, like they're finding other questions that they want to ask and they want to explore. So like season 2 actually didn't look anything like what they originally pitched for season 2.
Interesting.
Which I think is just like ultimately fascinating. And I think that's part of what makes the show so like wonderfully unique, is that like it's not about, you know, a full story arc or like answering. It's about questioning. It's about like and like that's the point, that like they aren't going to answer all these questions, and they're going to leave us asking more things, and they're just on an exploration. And I think that's like so cool, and that's so like not what we think about with like storytelling. We need a beginning, a middle, and an end, and like it needs to make sense, and we need to be satisfied at the end. And like they're sort of bucking that, and they're like, well, why do you need to be satisfied at the end? Like, why does it need to be buttoned up? Like, why do we need to have all these answers?
Why do you need to tell a linear story when time is not linear?
right. And it's like, so it's like,
definitely,
with that in mind, I kind of enjoy just sitting back and being like, some of this is probably going way over my head, and like, that's cool. I'm just like enjoying the ride.
I definitely think that this show is brave and makes bold choices, and like I do admire that. Like they're not afraid to do that stuff, like to go places that other shows don't go. Because usually you're like, you know, a show is brave, like Dexter, because he's an anti-hero, he's a murderer, but we root for him. That's so brave. Like, no, this actually,
there's a million anti-heroes,
right?
Exactly. It's like a whole trope.
It's not unique.
You actually love an anti-hero.
Like, Nadia is just like a normal person with a wicked sense of humor and a great taste in clothes and music.
Clothes, music, hairstyle.
Loves to do drugs.
Way of talking. Loves to do drugs. Pronounces it cockroach.
Cockroach. Oh my god, I think about that all the time. Cockroach.
Yeah, it was in the first season too.
Yeah.
And then she said it in the
the
second.
little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the
season, like calling back to season 1.
Yeah.
This is aside the point, but speaking of Easter eggs, in the first episode, she actually says nobody's gonna lock us up, and that's actually what Nadia says in the second episode of season 1, where the paramedics take her because she talks to Ruth about what's going on, and they
yes.
And she goes, nobody's gonna lock us up, and she crashes the car to die intentionally.
Oh, it's Sweet Birthday Baby, like that. Like there's lots of little things that I think is just like so fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
For like
also, and a side note about that, her friends are just awesome.
Wonderful. Her friends are the best.
It's just like such a solid, like start to finish. The cast is like just so perfect.
Yeah.
So
and isn't there also a fuck pile in season 2, which is a big season 1?
Is there?
I think that I feel like I was like either making a drink or like running to the bathroom or something, and I was like, Jay, don't pause it, I'll be right back. And I overheard her say, "Oh, another fuck pile."
Probably.
And I meant to go back and rewatch it. Totally forgot until right now.
Oh, is it when she's in Poland?
No, not Poland. Hungary.
Budapest.
I think it's in Budapest.
When she's in Budapest, yes. When she's in Budapest and she's at the guy's house / party.
The Nazi
rave
guy.
Yeah, the Nazi descendant. Who, like, you know, that was interesting questions too. Like,
well, even with him, like he had his own generational trauma that he was living literally in the present with her and Lizzie. Lizzie's the lesbian, which is who'd she go to?
Maxine.
Maxine, thank you.
Yeah. Like he didn't ask her to be descendant from a Nazi, but it's when she's exploring his like bedroom.
Yep.
And there's like mattresses like on the wall, and I think that's when she makes the comment of like, Oh, no, the fuck, wow.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Sorry, I need to go back.
That old like bomb shelter. Like what was that building?
I don't know. It looked really cool though.
It's like some sort of like factory,
very, like Cold War.
Yeah.
They were like factories, but give me lots of windows.
Right. And then convert it into a loft.
Right. But make it cool.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if they quite stuck the landing, but knowing that there's a season, that there's most likely a plan for a season 3 makes me wonder, like, is this a continuation? Because I feel the same way about season 2 as I did about season 2 of Stranger Things, where I was like, loved it up until the very, very end.
But see, I disagree. I think they did stick the landing. I think I walked away satisfied. Like I enjoyed.
She gave birth to herself and then kidnapped herself into the future and broke time. She gave birth to herself.
Yeah, that was like weird, but also like existentially perfect in a way for Nadia.
Yes,
to give birth to herself. I thought it was a really good look at like how, you know, you can't choose your family. Everything is kind of predetermined for you in a way. Generational traumas we talked about, and I also
can't take shortcuts.
Yeah, you can't
take shortcuts. You have to just.
I don't even think she was trying to take
the hard way.
Yeah, like I don't think she was even trying to take shortcuts. I think that she just realized like all the things that you do, it's gonna course correct. It's gonna course correct, and you're still gonna end up where you are, and you can't change. You can't change it.
It's a Coney Island.
It's a Coney Island.
I want to know if that's something they invented in the writers' room, or if that is a real like term or phrase, because I had never heard it before, but it is so real that that should be a term that people use.
So let's see. When you Google what's a Coney Island, the very first page of Google is actually all hot dogs.
Yeah, that sounds right.
In the Urban Dictionary, Coney Island is a manually administered sexual adventure involving a hot dog bun wrapped snugly about the phallus.
Gross.
Whoa! Did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
That's what people do. Whatever. Cool.
But like,
you.
just to go off topic here. I guess a blowjob with like bread involved isn't like the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, but I wouldn't pick a hot dog bun.
I don't know if it's like a potato roll.
Products, I feel like there are.
I would eat a potato. I would eat a potato roll anywhere. Apparently. Oh, we just went there. I'm sorry. Shandy is cringing in 15 different ways right now. Like every universe Shandy is cringing, and it's all like right now on one screen.
Yeah. Which actually, that kind of reminds me of when we do like the not the bloopers, but when we do the oh my god, what do we do when we listen to you take the clips and you
bonus
do it
episodes.
The bonus episodes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Reminds me of when we do the bonus episodes. And we always react exactly the same way to whatever joke.
Oh my god, you guys do every single time. Yeah,
you can't change the past. And also, I mean, because the thing that I was thinking about with Nadia, like more towards the beginning of the show, and that's usually the question in other like time travel, media, is like, what if you do change the past? And Alan even says like, that's what all of those things are warning you. You can't change the past. If you change one thing, you change everything. And so my thought was like, what if she did go and recover the gold? Then her whole life story would be different. And I mean, not necessarily better. It would be different.
Right.
Like she might not be her anymore. So like, do you want to fuck with that? But then as we saw, you can't.
Right. And
I love the fact that like she did fuck with the gold, and that was the story. That like time is inevitable.
Time was like, fuck you. We're going to make this into what it was before.
Yeah.
Even though you've done this.
like the way he laid the track for that story. So like sort of seeing it all come together in the moment when like Nadia realizes, it was just like, oh my God, like that was so satisfying.
That is really satisfying.
Like see that like random shot in the very beginning of a woman we don't yet know, that
which Jay was
convinced that's like taking a bag out of a subway.
Jay was convinced that was future Nadia. Jay was convinced that was future Nadia. That's
what Daniel thought too. That's what Daniel thought too. And
future.
He kept going
like,
at
again,
one
like,
point.
What is time?
He was like, at one point, she's gonna jump in the future and get that back. And then when we saw that, I was like, wow, that's a payoff I didn't see coming.
Right. It was like so satisfying because it's like it really all the stones were laid, and then when you like they pulled you back right when they wanted to, and you're like, what?
Right, like it was beautifully crafted. I just think that my own personal dissatisfaction, like, and maybe that's my own like guilty feelings. Not that I've ever not said goodbye to a loved one, but knock on wood. But you know what I mean. Like we
wanted the happy ending.
Yeah, like I would want that. But I do need to, before we move on,
exactly.
I'd be very remiss if I didn't shout out all of my fellow Marvel nerds and not say, you said time is inevitable. Time is Thanos.
I know. I had that thought the whole time. I think that's like utterly where the word choice came from, was like that concept. Yep.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't let it go by. It would have been the only thing.
Nor should you. That was not my. I stole that. Stole that from the pop culture verse.
Yeah, no, that was great when she realizes that, and then the other thing when Alan is talking to Agnes, who is the MTA worker that.
Yes.
That too, because the glasses and the outfit, that was the same actress the whole time. You didn't connect those dots.
I didn't connect it either, and I kept telling Jay, I was like, okay, she's going to go back, she's going to save Ruth, and we're going to see where the Alan and Nadia stuff intersects. And I did not pick up on it until I rewatched it tonight, and I was like, wait a second, that lady looks familiar. And then I Googled it, actually, and like confirmed it. I was like, oh, the MTA worker, Agnes.
Yeah. It wasn't until he like came into like he's like grandma and he's like talking to her as the MTA. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Like so much of it is very just well done. Very, I do like, I mean it, like very brave, bold choices for a TV show that could go the Back to the Future route, but instead it went like a different route. And so Nadia realizing, that like she's always going to end up there, and then when Alan's talking to Agnes and she says to him, hold on, I wrote it down. He goes, what happened to Lenny? Which also, I love that, two things. I love and hate, we'll get to that. And, sorry, pin. And she goes, Alan, I don't know, and that's okay. And I really like that shows Alan, like, it's okay to not see something through. It's okay to not know. It's okay. That's part of life. And I really liked, like, on one hand, I'm like, what was Alan's purpose in the grand scheme of things? I do think that they had a lot going on in season 2 that maybe didn't, like, maybe they should have had longer episodes, or like some things I thought could have been tighter or wrapped up better or expanded more. And the Alan stuff is the main thing. But, like, I really love the lesson that he learns in the end. Even though I never quite understood why, like, we had to do that to get there. But also, at the same time, I got it. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think with him, it was maybe at times not as explicit. But he said it a couple of times. And I'm glad that they went there. Like, in season 1, he tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's not something that you just, like...
Right,
like he's clearly, so he's like really grappling with that.
He's
I
clearly
killed myself. How am I supposed to live with that?
Yeah, like he's clearly
that's
has
such beautiful writing.
Yeah. Clearly has this trauma about it, and even the ever the wordsmith Ruthie when Nadia's fucked up the timeline and she tells her nothing in this world is easy except pissing in the shower.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, she's always got such a way with words. Although, full disclosure, I have a really hard time peeing in the shower because It makes me feel gross, the same as bathtubs. But I recognize that most people are okay with being in the shower.
No, I find it a little weird too.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, it's not really my bag.
Like, I can't say I've never not done it, but I don't generally do it. I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it's not really my thing.
My boys, though, they really like to aim for the drain. It's like a game. And I'm like...
Yeah, I'd imagine if you had a penis, I could see how that would be kind of fun.
Yeah. Well, if you have, a young penis. But,
yeah, you're still, how does it work?
To which I'm like, you can't get all the way in the toilet bowl every time, but just show your name at the shower. Anyway.
Practice.
But yeah, speaking of Ruthie, how perfect was Annie Murphy as a young Ruth?
Yeah, God, she really can just do just about anything.
Oh, she's the best.
She's so good. And it's like, I love this scene when they're like all the various iterations of the characters are on the subway together. And like you can sort of see the mirroring of mannerisms.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, God, she's so good.
She's so good. That was when...
really, really good.
That was when Nadia goes back onto the train and her mom asks her, like, Nadia, are you happy?
If you had it to do again,
mother?
Would you choose
me as your mother?
Mama?
And she looks at her she looks at Ruthie, young and old. She looks at her grandma, young and old. Yeah.
And sort of the climax of her storyline of like, yeah.
And then, it's on a way, like, it's lovely because you could tell that she's not happy about it, but she accepts it. Which I also understand Natasha Lyonne apparently had a very, stormy childhood, like Nadia had.
Yeah, that I think a lot of this stuff, while it is fictionalized and,
is
she's very clear to make that distinction. It is drawn upon
from real life. Experiences.
Her experiences. And
which Chloe Sevigny does a great job as her mom as well. Actually, we talked all the acting in this show is just fantastic from top to bottom. Yeah. Like, it's just top notch.
Yeah, but like I feel like Chloe Sevigny is like such a great choice because she is so like of that like East Village, like Tompkins Square Park, like gritty 90s New York scene.
Is the exact same as Natasha Lyonne, right? Isn't Natasha Lyonne like...
Well, I mean, yeah, but she's, sort of, generationally apart.
Yeah.
But, so I think that's why she was like she's sort of that scene.
Yeah, she does a great job. They all do great jobs. Do we need to talk about... So with Alan, I think... I both loved and wanted more. I love that Alan felt the most at ease and comfortable that he's ever felt as a black woman involved with East German or German man in 1940, whatever it was.
62.
62, thank you. I was like, 40-something is Nadia's story. Like, I love that. I don't think that we need to explain more on that. But at the same time, like, I wanted to know more about Alan's self-discovery. But I also recognize that, sometimes if you highlight a character's self-discovery like that, it could also be like a trope or pandering or, you know what I mean? But I also, I loved how just nonchalant it was. And it wasn't like a thing. Like, Nadia's like, what's her name? And he's like, his name is Lenny and I can't wait to see him again. And she's like, all right, well, go get your Lenny.
Yeah. And he said, he just really loved, like, not being judged because he wasn't him. Yeah. So when people looked at him, he no longer had that baggage of, like, having killed himself. And so, I think it was just a relief to be in somebody else's body.
Yeah. It's like, and because they're both very different characters, but, like, still very, are still very, very much connected. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to see how they're going on parallel journeys sort of in the same direction, but embrace them very differently.
Yes.
And, like, embody them very differently.
Like, Alan realizes it very quickly, like, what the purpose is of it. Whereas Nadia, needs to go through the whole gotta get up, gotta blah, 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 blah. When she was like, this fucking song, I was like, I agree, Nadia. I just rewatched season 1. I am also tired of this fucking song.
Okay, to go back to that song, like, if we can just for a minute, like, just the well-crafted, and I mean, like,
it is. It's so well-crafted.
Like, it's perfect.
It's so well-crafted, but, like, I loved at the end of episode 5 into episode 6, the song ends and picks up.
Yes.
At the correct place.
Yes.
So it's sort of paying attention to the means in which you're.
You mean 6 to 7?
Final.
Is it 5 to
right?
6?
Because there's 7 episodes. Right. See, again,
there's 7
episodes. 6 episodes. See, we were talking about this before we started recording because 7 episodes is weird.
Yeah, it is
It's
weird.
a weird thing to do. So yes, episode 6 into episode 7, the song goes up until the end and then it picks up at exactly the same spot at the top of episode 7. And it, I think it is just like thinking about how your overall thing is going to be consumed. Like, it's on Netflix, it's going to be a bingeable thing. Like, if this was a show that was airing on like regular TV where you were going to have to wait a week, I don't think an audience would have picked up on that cool little flourish that you put on it. So
definitely
it's like,
not.
You know, it's like, oh, this is like a bingeable thing that like my audience is going to actually like, I'm going to put this time and energy into doing this, and my audience is actually going to pick it up and like enjoy it. And it's like not a waste of your creative energy. And it's just like such a fun little flourish. And I just loved it so much.
Yes, agreed. So there's 2 more big things that I want to talk about. 3, actually. Also, I want to give a shout out to the line, "This is a real Thelma and Thelma," yeah? I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was when she was talking to Baby herself.
Yes.
But, okay, there's 3 things. We can pick which order we go. The first one is talking about horse.
Yeah, the horse of it all. I think we need to talk about horse.
And the second one is the number 6622, which I looked up what that meaning is. That's the subway car is 6622.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even look it up to see if it had any sort of significant.
So I did. Meaning. There's a lot of conflicting different meanings, but they all essentially mean the same thing. And then the third thing that I wanted to bring up was smoking and drinking. How would the MAGAs and the QAnons react in 2020 if the Surgeon General told you to stop smoking and drinking while pregnant?
Also, maybe 4th thing, because it's very quick. I just noticed that, speaking of smoking and drinking, the whole series was dropped on April 20th.
420.
Interesting because it's 420. I believe it's also Hitler's birthday. But that's
Is it really?
It is Hitler's birthday. Yeah. Yes. Man. I'm also pretty sure you're right. Yeah. It's either the birthday or the day that
marketing department totally made their money that day, huh?
They did. It's either his birthday or the day that he killed himself.
Or is it a Shakespeare situation and they're the same?
Oh, okay. No, yeah, right. It's almost a Shakespeare situation. He was born on the 20th. He died on April 30th. I knew he died in April.
Well, that was a real missed opportunity, Hitler.
Yeah, seriously, man.
Well, he meant to kill himself on the 20th.
Couldn't do anything right, could he?
No, he meant to kill himself on the 20th, but then he did a bit of meth and it kept him up for 10 more days. And which I love the scene where Nadia is like, Ruthie, did you know that the Nazis were all drugged up and on meth? And she's like, it's just such a little secret. And Ruthie is like,
such common knowledge.
Yeah, it's such common knowledge. I was like, yeah, I think
that's a known thing.
Yeah, it's a known thing. Like, yeah, I knew that too. If I knew it. There's this
the scene where she's like in Budapest in the 40s and she's going through like the gold train stuff and she's like, oh, they're bringing meth, you brilliant meth heads. She really like leaned into the joke about.
I mean, truly, there's this whole book on the Nazis and Hitler being like all methed up. It's actually, I've read the summary of it. They talked about a Mysterious Universe back when I used to listen to Mysterious Universe, and they did a good job covering it because they spent a good hour, a whole show going into detail on it. And then I went and read the summary and this was 5, 6, 7 years ago that's how I learned about it actually. And then I was like, damn, they were really all drugged up.
Yeah. I mean, can't sleep if you want to do that much harm to humanity.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So the thing, I'll start with the angel number thing, the 6622. So I just put what is the significance of 6622 into Google, and I got like all these angel number references, which angel numbers is the theory that your guardian angel's trying to get in touch with you, and they show you like 3 numbers in a row or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Huh. So 6622, it was a couple of things. It was either it signifies the importance of savoring the little pleasures in life, or a sign of inner peace and symmetry that brings joy to people, accomplishing something significant that would bring change. I do think that, like... it
was an intentional choice.
I think it was an intentional choice. Thank you.
Series of numbers they just picked.
They weren't... Yes, exactly. Thank you. I couldn't think of the exact word intentional. But I do think... inevitable. We're just going to call this episode Inevitable. I am inevitable. Nadia is inevitable. There we go. Nadia is inevitable. Episode title. I'm going to write it down right now.
Or we could go with every major pop culture publication across the internet and go for the let's do the time loop again. It's like there's a lot of internet writers across space and time. Like, I'm so witty. Like, people are going to think I'm so clever.
Okay, well, both these are brand new to me, and I love them both. But I do think that the inner peace and symmetry, like, I think that actually is, because that's what Nadia needed. That's what Ellen needed. Like, I do think that actually the number correctly speaks to their journeys in what they ended up getting. Not their journeys that they set out upon, but... you know, the journeys, like savoring the little pleasure in life. Like, if Nadia hadn't been so obsessed with going down and changing the past, she might have enjoyed more time with Ruthie. Instead, like, Maxine and Lizzie were the ones that were there for her in the end. So, yeah.
I will say, I just Googled Russian Doll Season 2, 6622.
Ooh!
And it says also... it says that it's likely a reference to an excerpt from the Old Testament Bible, Isaiah 66, verse 22. As the new heavens and the new earth that I make will endure before me, declares the Lord, so will your name and descendants endure. 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 Russian Doll Season 2's plot has Nadia and Alan come to terms with the world their ancestors have made for them. They have to endure what they were given and accept they can't change the unpleasant bits. Furthermore, Isaiah is part of the Old Testament, which can also be interpreted as a reference to the Judaism versus Catholicism discussion that punctuates the narrative as the troubled Volokov family was prosecuted by the Nazis.
Cool.
Love that.
So apparently there's also that,
Yeah.
I would go with that. Thank you for writing that.
Yeah, sweet.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah, thank you, Google. Thank you, tiny computer I carry around with me all the time.
Thank you, screenrant.com.
Yeah. All right. So the horse of it all?
Yeah, the horse of it all.
Yeah.
I think that we've already decided without saying it, as if people were told to stop smoking and drinking in 2020, we'd have a whole bunch of alcohol babies right now, because they just wouldn't have done it.
Well, it depends who's doing the telling. If Trump was telling them to do that, then it would be great. But if
Tucker told them, they'd be on board.
Right.
Yeah.
But if Democrats told them, then they would do the opposite out of spite.
Well, you say if the Surgeon General had said, stop smoking and drinking in 2020, which they actually recommended in the late 80s, it was actually right around the time that our parents were pregnant with us, because I actually looked this up and read about it and then didn't take notes on it, but it was the early 80s where they said to stop it.
Yeah, well, it did feel like a little like, oh, wasn't this like a 60s thing? Like, aren't we sort of...
No.
Don't we have the science at this point? So yeah, that was like kind of...
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Smoking on subways, though, as it will come up, was an 88 thing. But, we'll get to that when we get to that.
We will get to that.
So, yeah.
This little Easter egg for you guys.
I think that we're settling on issue number 4, is, the horse of it all. Let's talk about horse, because I think horse is the last big discussion that we need to have. And I'm fascinated by his character, because personally, I always thought, even in season 1, that he was somewhat their time guide.
Me too. He's always kind of the, and Colleen's sister trying to help me find the word that I'm looking for. The inciting incident, you know, like I always feel like he shows
The catalyst?
up. Like he always shows up before time gets wonky.
I think catalyst is the right word, because he's the thing that like sort of like is like bibbity bobbity boo. He's like the fairy godmother of the timeline, because he
like the puppet master. Like
he's the puppet master.
He's like the string puller.
So I did some research into this, actually, and I found an article from The Atlantic, and I guess Leslie Headland, who was a writer in co-creator of season 1 with Amy Poehler and Natasha Lyonne, said she has likened a horse to Pan, the Greek god of nature and wildness, which actually does kind of fit with season 1 Pan, but season 1 horse. Season 2 horse is more like a malevolent trickster god or a portal to the underworld. So it's kind of like a Loki, right? Because Loki is like...
or like Ariel from The Tempest.
Yeah.
You know, like that kind of sprite.
Yes.
Well, and Pan is more of like a goat, but I'm just like picturing his hooved little legs. And so it's funny that his name is Horse.
Hey, that actually might be intentional. That might not be an accident.
I'm sure. Yeah. I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't name a character Horse just on a whim.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like, I was kind of hoping that we would get a little, and I guess we did sort of get a little more of a window into like his presence in the series and sort of his function in the whole universe. But like, it's still, you know, which I guess is kind of this show is like bread and butter. It like presented more questions than it actually ultimately answered. Like I was hoping we would get more of a like, how does Horse factor into this? And we did.
And if there's a third act,
which I hope there is. Yeah,
maybe we will, or maybe like his character is just meant to be like a mindfuck, and we just will never know. And maybe that we just have to kind of enjoy questioning his purpose and like how he factors into the whole thing. And maybe we need to learn to be okay with that too. But like it is clear that he is
right. I think it
pulling some string somewhere.
Right. I think it's like generally universally assumed that Horse is some sort of guide in some form. I don't think we'll ever find out, because honestly, this show is not called Supernatural or The X-Files where we would get an answer. Right. It's, you know, it's much more like choose your own adventure, Google your own explanation kind of thing, which I like.
You're totally right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a third season and, you know, we had more of Horse as a guide, because it was pretty, like, hit you on the head obvious that Horse isn't just a mere mortal homeless person. Like, he's clearly something somewhere, because even in season 1, I believe that it's after Nadia interacts with Horse that she ends up discovering who Alan is, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I do
that
think,
sounds about right.
Like Amanda said, he's a catalyst for a lot of different things.
But even in the very first episode, and I didn't pick up on this until the rewatch of the first season, that like the first time we see Horse, the first thing Nadia says is, "Hey, I think I know that guy."
Yeah.
Yes.
And like you just kind of write it off as just like, oh, you know, the homeless guy you see around the neighborhood, like
right. Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. Wow, I want to see more of him. And I also think that I wonder, and this isn't, you know, directly me thing, I read this somewhere, but Agnes, the grandmother, like, is she some kind of, like, keeper of the void? Because she explains what the void is, like a space that's been forgotten, so I wonder if she's going to be a bigger role in season 3, or if her sole purpose was just to teach Alan that, like, it's okay to be who you are and not have control over everything, and, like, it's okay to not know what happens to someone.
Yeah, you know, and if the void is metaphorical or literal, because it's like
exactly
that whole scene could exist on both planes, as like it is a literal place that is just nicknamed the Void. Because I'm sure there are like a ton of underground spaces in Manhattan that are unutilized and are just there. And you wouldn't, unless you're like an MTA worker or someone that like works underground, you wouldn't know they exist. But it then also has this, metaphorical. So I would be curious if we see her character again. I kind of hope so.
I kind of hope so as well. I mean, you could, all right, we've got a bunch of feedback. Let's get into that. The first bit of feedback is actually from Matt. Last minute Russian Doll feedback. And Matt says, "Hey broads, thanks for giving me the kick in the ass to finish Russian Doll Season 2. While I finished the first season over the course of its first weekend, the second season didn't inspire the same level of enthusiasm. Now that I'm finished, I'm not going to say I trailed off because the season was bad. It wasn't, but rather other shows had more of my attention. And of course, following up last season, which could have been a great one-off miniseries, was no easy task. Ending the pandemic probably didn't help either. I'm glad they didn't just redo the first season. There was nowhere else to go. I agree with that. With the time travel body swap premise, they had to take things into some interesting places, and I'm on board with exploring how gross New York City was back in the early 80s. Dude, where I come from, how gross New York City was in the 80s and 90s, and anytime pre-Giuliani is legendary, because if you want to know why most of Long Island is fucking MAGA right now, it's because of Rudy Giuliani.
Just like shoved all those homeless people in a proverbial closet. I was like, I cleaned up the city, I did it.
Sure did. No, I'm not kidding. Like, that dude is a fucking joke now, but he is still a legend there because they just refuse to listen to everything else. Anyway, this season feels messier, as the first was more straightforward about breaking cycles and helping others. Ultimately, this season turns out to be about grief. At least that's what the last 2 episodes tell me, as Nadia comes to terms with her maternal figure Ruth's death. The fracturing timeline where she continually runs into different storylines. The fracturing timeline where she continually runs into different timelines feels like how your mind processes grief. I also agree with that.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Because you don't process grief linearly.
It is not a straight line.
It's not a straight line. Thank you. As Lizzie points out, like, you just don't. You don't. Like,
you don't.
You think about all the different ways things could have happened, or how you would have done something different, and using Shine On You Crazy Diamond at the end, that fits as a song, and the album it's from, Wish You Were Here, I love that album, was about former member Syd Barrett, even though it wasn't at that time. We also need to, like, stick a pin and talk about how amazing the soundtrack was this season. So Jay's favorite band that's not like Led Zeppelin or the Beatles is Depeche Mode. He loves Depeche Mode.
Really?
So there were
surprising to me.
What?
It's kind of surprising to me.
Oh, loves Depeche Mode. Like, Enjoy the Silence, Your Own Personal Jesus, like all of the songs that, like, and even more, loves them. Since 2007 we started dating, like, loves Depeche Mode. Anyway, so he was like super hooked on this season at first because there was so much Depeche Mode played in the first few episodes. But I agree, Shine On You Crazy Diamond was a perfect song to end with. Yeah.
Well, and to go back to the Hollywood Reporter interview that I read, I very much recommend it. Like, Google it. Like, it was really insightful to see like what Natasha Lyonne had to say about the series. But like the music choices for this season were very intentionally things that
you could tell
were more popular and mainstream, so that like this like idea of collective feeling like heavy things, but like not feeling isolated and weird about it.
Yeah.
So like heightening these moments where you would feel something weird with like a song that we all kind of know to like help it feel less lonely. And I loved that. Like that extra context of it, because it was just like, oh yeah, this song. And like I like the intentionality of that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you would tell they put thought into the soundtrack because every single bit in both seasons is just perfect.
Yeah, but it's like it was more obscure and cool in the first season, whereas this is more like things that like your average person, like even if they don't know it intimately, they have heard at some point, like in their they've come in contact with the song in some way.
Yeah. Matt continues, in retrospect, I wish I had more time to go over the first 5 episodes I watched earlier, because there's so many parts I remember from the first part that kind of get swept away in the final couple of episodes, and I'm not sure if that was just messiness or something I forgot. I agree, Matt. That's why I really do regret not... Generally, I try to watch everything twice before we do these when we do TV shows. I also regret that, too. Since you all saw this close together, did Alan's storyline serve any real point, or was this a case of keeping a character around for their past usefulness or story? I don't know, maybe this is a little scattershots, last minute again. Didn't want to incur the wrath of Eden from Instagram. Can't wait to hear what next month's pick is. Matt. So...
Yeah, I think we addressed the Alan question.
I do.
I think so too.
Yeah, because like I said, I spent all day today trying to figure out what Alan's point was, because I also couldn't figure it out. But upon a rewatch, I think that he had to get there so he could help Nadia get there, and that actually is a thing that like goes back to the first season, that they need each other to save each other. Like Nadia told him early on, like, you should go back and try to see if you can change the timeline, and he wasn't really sure what to do, and then he tries to do that.
He was like, no.
Yeah, but he does eventually then try to do that with Lenny, and the tunnel realizes that it fails. He was right the first time, and then he's able to actually really help Nadia. Like, you're the most selfish person they've met. You need to go back. Like, this isn't right. So he's there to help her, and although they're not... In the first season, I think we were just very accustomed to the fact that they were, like, equal parts helping each other. And at this, Agnes really helped Alan realize what he was supposed to do, but Alan kind of also was basically there from his own experience, and he then needed to help Nadia, whose trauma was just so much greater than Alan's trauma that he was trying to work through. Like, it was just such on a more personal level.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that, because even like, I agree that he initially didn't want to mess with time, but he still went back even before he started caring about Lenny and then trying eventually to change something. Even beforehand, he had to learn that like escaping into somebody else's skin is not what he needed to be doing. Ultimately, he had to deal with the fact of what happened in season 1, and I just love that they didn't brush that under the rug.
Agreed.
Very
and it's like, I also just don't love the idea of like weighting people's trauma. Like, your trauma is your trauma, and like
You're right.
be putting like someone's trauma is harder than someone else's, or like bigger to overcome. Like your trauma is your personal journey, and I mean, it is as hard.
You're right.
As
I completely misspoke.
He jumped off a building. I'm sorry.
Like, I think
maybe they didn't have the same childhood, but he jumped off a building.
Right. I think maybe the more fair critique is that, like, for an audience member, Alan's journey is like a little more linear, that it's sort of like, like, I killed myself, I have to learn I don't know how to live with that. Like, it's a little more,
well, it's also only
easier
really
to distill
mentioned
down that concept, like, than Nadia's trauma, which does feel a little more well,
Nadia's trauma takes up the entire season, whereas Alan only, and that's right, you're correct. I was totally wrong, and I'm very sorry. I was completely incorrect with what I just said. Like, you're right, but because I was a dumb viewer. Like, Alan's trauma is really only mentioned when he's talking to his grandmother in the void, where he mentions that.
Well, he says it earlier. He says it early on in the season. Yeah.
Oh, I completely missed that. When does he say that?
But it's because it's sort of, we haven't gone on the full journey yet. It is kind of just an.
They don't like dwell on it. Yeah.
It's in the first episode, I think.
Okay, yeah, I totally didn't even take that as a note. Okay, I'm the worst. Sorry, guys. Don't listen to me from here on out.
But like, I think that's also what makes the show so interesting. And again, to go back to this one article I read in preparation from the Hollywood Reporter. Again, guys, just go read it. It's very informative. Alan was not even an original character when they
Really?
first pitched the show. That it was like halfway through the writer's room for season 1 is when they sort of found this Alan character. And so like, when you think of it in that context, is like how the introduction of his counterpoint to Nadia like adds this additional richness to the story you want to tell and the questions you want to ask, and like how you can kind of come at them from different perspectives and angles, and how they can then also then bolster each other up as well as like compete with each other. Like I think it just adds this whole other level that like I think even like I haven't quite like wrapped my brain around, like, but yeah. So I feel like I'm on the side of like I would have liked more of Alan's character's storyline, but I understand why it was a little short.
Yeah.
I think. But again, with the show, I'm never sure if what I think is actually what they were trying to get me to think.
Well, that doesn't necessarily matter.
That's true. That's fair. Good point.
Well, thank you, Amanda, for pointing that out, because that was a wonderful take that I just completely missed. So thank you. We've got some feedback from Scott, who says, just take it from a lifelong New Yorker. No, you couldn't smoke on subway cars in the 80s. People might try to sneak one in between cars, but not inside the train. As a person who rode the subways nonstop from the late 70s on, I can say with absolute certainty, other details, a lot were spot on, a few were forgivably off, but that one, simply no way. It did bug me a little bit, even though it was more of a common effect, plus Leonie's love of tobacco. Anybody have anything about this feedback?
No, it was funny because like one of those videos that I watched, that was like one of the first things that they pointed out, is there's all the posters in the subway, you know, that like put you in the like 1986 or whenever it is. And one of the other things that they point out is that it wasn't until the end of 1987 that smoking was prohibited in the subway in New York. So
Not in 1982?
No, 1987. It went into effect, I think, in November of 1987. There's this article, like, it's in the New York Times. MTA bans all smoking on its trains. And that's dated January 23rd, 1988.
There you go.
So the New York Times would beg to differ with Scott.
But to be fair, as also, like, I am not a lifelong subway rider, but like, I've got almost a good 20 years of subway riding under my belt. It's a tight, confined space. I could see how, like, most people would choose not to smoke on the subway because it's gross.
Yeah, but also I would say, like, in the 80s, people didn't think it was, like, you have to, like, put ourselves back in. I mean, I can't really put myself back in 1988 very well because we were 4. But, like, people smoked in airplanes. People still smoked
in diners,
in restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just can't understand how we just couldn't the smell and the air quality.
So, like, it's not even a little bit surprising to me that people would be smoking in the subway.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I would be inclined to agree with you, but like the overarching, I think the point of like the truth of the subway, I found really enjoyable. Like as soon as the train pulled up in the first episode, it's like, oh, that's an old subway train. Like, and as soon as she got on and the door closed, you're like, wait, I think we've gone back in time. Something's not right. Something is not right. That is an old train.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like as a subway rider, like when you're getting on an old train that's like about to be decommissioned.
Yep. Same with an airplane. You're like, oh.
You're like, oh, one of these.
Yeah.
I think what this does show us, though, is that change is possible.
And
even
inevitable.
In our society.
Inevitable.
Yes.
Memory can be a confusing thing.
Yes, no, indeed.
Not an exact science, the memory.
For sure. I mean, I feel like probably a lot of the stuff from like back in the day, it's like it almost probably didn't even register because it was just normal, you know?
Yeah.
For people to be straight up smoking everywhere inside.
Just blood paper.
Yeah.
But we can make societal like progress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't do that anymore. That's great.
Neither
in the subway, nor in airplanes, nor in restaurants. Every now and then in certain states, like you'll still go into a bar and it's like, wait, have they not banned indoor smoking in this bar?
Yeah,
like maybe all of the states have changed, but we've lived through that.
That bar probably also doesn't require vaccination of anything.
Yeah. Although to go back to the subway, if we can talk about the accuracy of the subway ads.
Oh, yeah. Totally. They really...
they nailed it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Somebody did great research on that.
Oh, even like the modern trains. You're like, oh yeah, I just saw that ad the other day. That's real. That's a real ad. I've seen that.
We're like, Dexter, the final season repeated?
Like, oh.
Schitt's Creek?
That's Street Easy ad. Yeah, I just saw that.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to finish this up. We've got a voicemail, 2 voicemails actually, from Greg.
Hey, Amanda, Shandy, and Colleen. This is Greg. I decided that I wanted to give some feedback for Russian Doll, but I don't have a lot of time. So I decided to call in and to kind of just go off for a moment. Well, not really go off. I'm not that emotional about it. But just wanted to give you feedback quickly, and rather than taking the time to type it up because it would take me longer. So anyway, my thoughts on season 2 of Russian Doll. So I watched it when it first came out. I binged it all that night. I haven't watched it since, so it's been a minute. But my overall feelings from what I remember was that I was a little disappointed in season 2. I thought that the train was an interesting idea and way to continue the kind of, I don't know if time travel is really the right word, but whatever time thing was going on there. That was interesting, and I liked it. Man, I don't remember anybody's name on the show. I'm so bad. But Natasha, I think that's the actress name. Oh man, this is bad. I kind of liked her story for most of the show, but I don't know. I guess just at the end, I just feel like nothing really changed. I think. Man, this is bad. I don't remember. And then the main guy, I felt like his story was like almost irrelevant completely. I barely tied into the main story at all. There was a little bit because I believe his grandmother, like we found out that she also exists like outside of time at times, the way that they can. So there was like some intersection, and when her mother was, and when she was getting birthed, she like offered to help, I think. But other than that, it was kind of completely separate. So it just kind of felt not necessarily pointless because there was some to it, but I don't know. I just really wasn't that impressed with it. Despite enjoying Natasha Lyonne, that's her name. Obviously, she always gives a great performance, and I really enjoyed her. But yeah, it just didn't really leave too much of an impression on me, as you can tell. I can't really remember much about it. So yeah, I guess that kind of speaks for itself that I was not a big fan. That I haven't bothered to revisit it, haven't really given it much thought. I talked to some people online about it initially and just being like, hey, like this seemed pointless. And they're like, yeah, no, but like the grandmother connected, blah, blah, blah. So it was like a little bit, but within a week, it was out of sight, out of mind. And, so when you asked for feedback, I was like, maybe I should rewatch it, but who has time for that? I still think the first season is incredible. From when I remember it, I really, really like that. So if they get a third season, I will check it out to see what happens next, and to see what cool ideas they have and new ways they find to, I guess, time travel or time hop.
Oop, hold please, part 2.
All right, I got cut off. I forget exactly where I was at, so I'll just summarize. I was too long, didn't listen type deal. Season 2 Russian Doll, it was okay. Wasn't really that impressed. Didn't hate it. Definitely didn't love it. It is what it is, I guess. I'll watch season 3 if it comes out. And Tasha Lyonne rules. So that's really all I have for Russian Doll. And I did think of another thing while I was calling back in for this message, is that I submitted, I don't know how long ago, maybe 2 months ago, that I was potentially going on a date with somebody I met on Bumble. I don't know if I said Bumble, whatever. Somebody I met on Bumble. But unfortunately, she decided that she's too busy for date right now. So we decided to just let it go for now and go our separate ways. So didn't end up going on a date, and back to the hellscape known as online dating, with so much swiping that my thumbs are bleeding, and I don't have a date, so that's awkward. So yeah, that's it. But I'm doing good, so it's okay, except for my thumbs, of course. But anyway, I should go. Bye.
All right. Well, thank you, Greg, for that feedback.
Yeah. Good luck with the thumbs and the online dating.
Yes.
I will say, though.
Ice those thumbs.
Yes. Greg started out by saying that nothing changed. And I would say that is the point. Greg, I think that after listening to our episode, you should go and rewatch.
I agree.
And I totally get it because I felt the same the first time that I watched the first 5 episodes. Literally fell asleep a couple of times, and partially because I was tired, but
Yeah, it's definitely like, I don't want to say acquired taste, but it
and I really think that rewatching the first season and leading right into it from there is the way to go.
I agree. It's like being dropped back into that world and like having all that fresh in your mind. Like it really amped me up. It got me very excited for season 2.
Yeah. I think our talk tonight has also helped me a little bit too, because honestly, Greg, like I never had the problem where I was falling asleep. Jay also, was kind of with you guys too. I never had that issue. It was just, again, the last episode, as a person that has anxiety and needs closure, like, it was deeply disturbing to me, like, that she would have had the agency to say goodbye to Ruthie and didn't, especially knowing all the things that Ruth did for her for her mom. And, that really did bother me a lot. But, like, I think like talking about this has really helped me.
And I think it's supposed to bother us. It is heartbreaking.
I think it's also real. Like, sometimes you aren't there to say goodbye to someone that you really want to say goodbye to, and you have to just like keep going forward because that's the only direction this life gives you.
Yeah.
You just have to live with it, or learn to live with it, I should say.
Well, as we discussed, I think we're all used to happy endings, and I'm just being a little bit of a baby about not getting mine. So anyway, thank you, Greg, for the phone call. Thank you, Matt, for the feedback. Thank you, Scott, for the feedback. We appreciate it. We are off, as we said earlier on the show. We are, any last words, actually? Sorry, before I wrap this up. Do we have any last thoughts about Russian Doll?
I'm just so intrigued to see where they take us for season 2.
Yeah. And the episode in Hungary.
This is not the journey I was expecting for season 2, so I'm really looking forward to being surprised and tested in season 3.
Although... if this was a natural evolution of the story, because her whole issue at the end of season 1 was letting go, learning to accept what happened to her as a child. And season 2 explored more on that. It just didn't hit you over the head with telling you that was the theme, where she accepted it in 1, she let it go in 2. And I think that, that is... beautiful in some way.
Yeah. And I mean, holy shit, she without just giving her mom a total pass, she experienced the mental health issues that her mom experienced from inside her head.
There were points where I thought that we were going to flash forward.
About that.
Yeah, there were points where I thought we were going to flash forward to the times where she was actually with young Nadia, and I was going to be like, holy shit, this is so Inception-y, that all those times that Nadia remembered in season 1, that was actually Nadia as her mom. But no, it actually turns out that her mom was just that mentally ill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was a cool attempt to try and humanize what it would be like to live as a schizophrenic.
Yeah.
It's
especially in the 80s.
Yeah. It's something that if you don't have those sort of mental health issues, you could never comprehend what it actually feels like. And it was a very interesting attempt to try and do that.
It was.
For the viewer. And I thought
it was. And I'm
glad you brought it up. We should talk about it. Yeah, I'm glad.
I will deeply miss the Ruth character, present day Ruth.
Yeah.
I think
she was great.
She was great. And I hope we see more of Annie Murphy, but we probably won't. But I will deeply miss that character because she really was. Because even throughout, past and present, she was trying to tell her, like, enjoy the moment, go on your girls trip, go do this, go do that, and yeah.
Yeah.
People named Ruth are just awesome.
Yeah.
Clearly.
It's a really good name.
It's like the quintessential feminist name.
That's true.
I will say I had thought if I ever did have kids and had a daughter, like Ruth was one of the names in my head, but it doesn't work in French.
Well, that was
TH is pronounced like a T, so
so it'd be Ruth.
Doesn't have the same effect.
Root.
Yeah, which just really is not as beautiful.
No.
I love me a good English TH.
Yeah. Well, as you all know, I was looking for that vag initials with Alex if he was a girl, but the working name was Vivian Ruth if he had been a girl.
That's beautiful.
His grandmother's name is Ruth, so she would have been Vivian Ruth instead of Alexander Thomas. So
I like it. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Well, the moment passed, but that would have been what it was. You can all steal that. I wouldn't be offended. I would be very flattered. Anyway, yes. Last thoughts. Last things to discuss.
I'm just really glad that we talked about it on the podcast because I probably wouldn't have watched it as closely. And I'm glad I did.
Yeah, and talking about it has helped me really appreciate it a lot more, too.
Agreed. All of the above.
All right, well, I guess we'll see y'all next season.
Hopefully we don't have to wait another 3.5, 4 years for it.
Hopefully we don't have to wait a whole pandemic and then some.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. I like that they just pandemic didn't exist. It's like, it is kind of refreshing that we were at that point where art doesn't feel like they have to comment on the pandemic or explain it away. Like they just wasn't a thing. And it was very refreshing. Okay. Now I'm really done.
Okay. So next month, did we decide what we're going to do? Are we going to do...
I don't know if we did. You threw out a lot of really solid options, but I don't think we ever decided on one.
I don't think we did either.
Yeah, you just kept throwing out good ideas, but we never... There was too many. I couldn't pick one.
Yeah, we had the Meg Ryan rom-coms. We had the Nicholas Sparks book movies. Any of those pinged your curiosity?
Or the Shakespeare reimaginings. I thought that was kind of cool. That was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah. Okay, so do we have a decision, or is this something that I'm going to put in
I think I vote Shakespeare also.
I like Shakespeare. Yeah. But what if we did and I don't know if this actually, it must, because I feel like this comes up all the time. If we do a Shakespeare reimagining from the 90s, the 2000s, from each decade, I think that could, I kind of like when we kind of pick things from different points and kind of compare and contrast them.
Okay, but we have to watch Romeo and Juliet.
Right. That's why it's that's the 90s.
Okay.
So then one from the 2000s and maybe one from either the 2010s or I feel like the 2020s is we're still just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Okay,
no, that sounds good.
We're going to do Romeo and Juliet, etc.
Right. TBD.
Please send us... Listen, we're off next week. I would like to fully announce this the week that we come back. So please comment on the Facebook post. Send us a message on Instagram. However you want to get us to us. Let us know what other Shakespeare reimagined movies you would like us to watch. I think we're willing to go up to 3.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I feel like 3 seems to be manageable in the month turnaround of the assignment.
Yes,
and even for the discussion,
and that will be October 4th. So October is going to be a really fun month for us. October 4th, we're going to do the Shakespeare reimagined, or you know what I mean. I'm just calling that because I'm lazy. October 18th, we're going to do our Halloween movies.
Spooky Halloween.
Give us suggestions for what you'd want us to watch for that. And then the 25th, we'll hope that you will all join us live on Zoom to do our Halloween party. Costumes are strongly suggested.
Yeah, come to see what Nadia's we're all going to show up as.
Yes. We'll see. Anyway, on that note, everybody, thank you for listening. Please get your feedback about tonight's show and anything else you want to give us. Thebroadcasters3@gmail.com or 331-276-2373. I have something super funny that I think some of our listeners may have seen me retweet this past weekend because they commented on it. There's it's not an Am I the Asshole, but it's a subreddit That Time I Fucked Up. It's It's pretty amazing. I read it at like 6:45 in the morning while I was peeing. And I was literally doing that because I was locking the door because Zach wouldn't leave me alone. And I was like, I'm just going to sit on the toilet for a little while longer. And watched it, started cracking up. Immediately knew that I had to kick Zach out of the room because it's not safe for work. And then had to show Jay, who then also cracked up as well. I was really looking forward to seeing your reaction tonight, but I need time and we don't have time.
Respect. Save it. Save it.
So you're going to be included on an internet trend about 3 weeks after it happens, but it's going to be worth it, I promise.
That's fine. I feel like that's when I find most internet trends anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah, same.
All right, on that note, the broadcast history at gmail.com, 331-276-2373. Thank you to the patrons, especially the ones that contribute a certain level, and that'd be Eckhart, Rick, Attack from Tokyo, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with a Plan, who just recently had a birthday. Happy birthday, Joanne. Woohoo!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And Ed, the creepy poopy head mailman. Thank you guys so much. We will see you soon. On that note, my name is Colleen.
My name is Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up. For the morning comes banana.
The key change.